to Spotlight magazine, and I have the honor to be on the fabulous and historical stage of Birdland with the owner, Gianni. And he has been the owner of Birdland for quite some time, the original location, and now they've moved to 44th Street. And Gianni, I'm so happy that you're allowing me to interview you and kind of get a little insight of your life and Birdland and everything that's wrapped around this amazing club. But tell me in the beginning, let's kind of rewind back to the beginning as to where you started out. You're from Italy, you're Italian.
I'm from Italy. Well, actually, my mom, my dad, and half my siblings were born in Italy.
Okay.
Myself and two other brothers were born here in America.
Oh, okay.
And
you speak Italian?
I speak Italian. I speak a dialect. We're from southern Italy.
Oh, nice.
So the dialects, as you travel through Italy, they change quite a bit.
Of course.
So I find whenever I travel to the north, I don't speak as readily as I would if I were in the south.
Yes, but you all understand each other.
We get it across.
Yes.
We use our hands a lot.
Yes.
So that's a good way of
come stai? Sto bene.
good communication. Va bene. Yeah.
Va bene. Exactly.
Hey, where you going?
So you grew up here, but obviously because most of your family is born in Italy, you were traveling back and forth a lot.
We did a lot of that, yeah. Okay. We actually had residence there, and every summer we would go back and we'd visit. My father had a big family. Two of his brothers moved to Milano, and his sisters remained in Bari, so whenever we would go, we would split our time between the north and the south.
Okay, all right.
So I got a good feel of Italy.
Yes, absolutely. Do you cook? Are you good?
No, I don't cook at all.
I
don't cook at all.
You don't cook at all.
I have great chefs at the restaurant.
All the women were taking care of you when
Yes,
you're
that's
growing up,
true.
of course.
My grandmother, my mother, and my sisters were all fabulous cooks.
Of course.
And then I got into the restaurant music industry with great chefs. So, I found my kitchen, I could make it a walk-in closet.
I love it. That's great. So then, all right. So why do you need to cook, right?
Yeah.
You have all the women in the restaurant, and it's great.
And yeah.
So you grew up here in where did you grow up?
Well,
in the States.
My family moved to Westchester County, which is about an hour from here.
Yes. No, I know very well.
I grew up there, went through high school there, and then when I graduated high school, I went away to college, and then my family slowly, as most Italians do as they get older, moved to Florida. So my family, most of them live in Florida, and I'm here in New York.
All right, all right. So are you now, being the owner of Birdland, one would wonder if you're a musician yourself.
That's a very interesting question. I was. Actually, my father was a musician. My father was a saxophone clarinet player. And when we came here, we had lessons from my dad. I'm a twin. One would play clarinet one night. I would play saxophone back and forth. But it wasn't something that I really loved. So when I was in high school, I got enough nerve up to go to my dad and say, Dad, saxophone, clarinet's really not for me. I'd like to play bass guitar. So I became a bass guitarist. And that I did through college. I always loved music, kept my interest there. But once I got into the industry, from the business end of it, I no longer took it up.
Okay. All right. Did you, before you got into the business end of it, did you do any touring or?
Well, we played in bands through high school and college, but local stuff.
Yes.
I was more a rock and blues player.
Yes.
I played the bass through the alphabet, one of those kind of things.
Yes.
Just having fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
but nothing serious.
Nothing serious.
But my love for music never changed. From when I was a child to this day. My biggest thrill is to be around it every day of my life.
Which you are.
I am. I mean, ironically, November 1 will be 30 years that I've owned Birdland.
Wow.
And I have to tell you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, time has flown, but I could never even think of doing anything else. but what I do. I'm blessed to be able to share the music, to meet and become friends with the artists and the guests that come in. It's you know, it is like it's a dream come true for me.
Yes, absolutely.
I truly love it.
So now, before you embarked on Birdland, and that being a part of your life, a major part of your life for 30 years now in November, what were you doing before then?
This is my life.
You know, like, did you work in? You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I tell you,
were you
I
managing
had,
another
before,
place,
well,
or
before
were you
I
dealing
got back
with
to New York, I went from high school, and I went to the University of Georgia and played baseball, and I wasn't happy there.
Wow.
So something was drawing me back to New York. So I came to NYU, and I finished my studies there, did my graduate work there, and in the meantime, to pay for school and housing, I started working in the industry. And I started out in the kitchen and became a waiter, became a bartender, a host, a manager, and then I opened my first restaurant. So I started out in the restaurant industry, but always had love for music. And I was very fortunate. I had a place on the east side, a place on the west side, and one afternoon, unbeknownst to me, it was a Saturday afternoon, I went into one of my restaurants on the west side, and it was brunch, and I was sitting with a dear friend of mine, Hugh Masekela, you may know, great trumpeter from South Africa.
Yes.
And a woman walked in, and he said to me, he said, "That's Doris Parker." Now, I wasn't a big jazz fan at this time.
Yeah.
I was just, you know, I was into music, but jazz was, yes, my father loved it, but I didn't know all the great names and wives of some of the greatest players. So I walked over, I introduced myself, I sat her down, she had brunch, we had words, very beautiful woman, very kind, and we were soft-spoken, and she came back a couple of times after that. We started talking, and I was building a place on the Upper West Side, and she came in to visit, and she said, "Wow, this looks like the old Birdland." And I said, "Well, it does." And she said, "We should open up Charlie's Bandstand." And I said, "Well, you know, that's tough water to follow." I mean, Birdland and Gianni Valenti opening up. She goes, "Don't worry, I'll be here to help you." So she came in the following week with a friend of hers. We sat and had dinner. It was Max Roach. And Max Roach said to me, "Johnny, if we do this, we got to do it right." And that was in 1984, and I opened in 1985.
Wow.
With Doris Parker and Max Roach giving me their blessings, and that's where I am today. I had a commitment to them that I could do this. Kiddingly, I said at the table, I said, I can only do it for 50 years. They laughed. I've done 30, and next year we have a new lease, and I asked my landlord for 20 years.
20 years.
And he said, "Why 20? And I said, "I have a commitment to some great people."
Aww,
And
wow.
that's what I'll do. And that's my dream, and that is my desire, my hope. And I hope that God is with me in letting me do this, because as we all know, Birdland in the 60s closed. We had a lack of enthusiasm for our music. We turned our back on our heritage. This was our music. This is an American tradition. Our artists, thank God, found work doing their music in Europe or in Asia, and it kept it going. And my thing, I think, I'm placed on this earth, is to make sure it never ends. And I think if I do 50 years, I've given it my all, and then we'll move it on to the next one. And hopefully my son will take it.
Yes. Is your son interested in music? Is
He
a
loves
lover like
music. He
yourself?
loves the theater. He loves
Yes.
music. He may not be a jazz fan yet, but I think I'm going to have
getting
to
there.
push him that way.
Exactly. Well, I met him a while back, and he seemed like a great gentleman, and
Well, you know, as you know, you're in the industry. It's really got to take you. You've got to really be devoted. You've got to really want it, because it's a tough business,
It is.
whether you're doing it from my end or from an artist end. It demands your whole life.
Oh, absolutely. It's not.
So,
It's not a. It's not a career of choice.
mm.
You sort of do it because you love it and you have the passion for it.
And you know
Right.
what? You've got to put everything else aside.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I've sacrificed a lot to be here for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's fulfilling, and I love it, and I don't think I would be happy doing anything else.
Yes. Wow. Well, now I know there's, in the press I heard that you were going to be opening up a new place.
Oh, you did? You heard that?
Yes.
Well, we are.
Fill
It's
us
like-
in on that new
Well,
place.
it's like I have so much free time. I've got a 14-year-old son and 40 employees
Yes,
and
you're
music
like,
every
"God, I
night.
need to do something else
Yeah,
because I just have all this extra time. So.
Yeah, actually, a very dear friend of mine, as we all know, Michael Feinstein. They were at the Regency for many years.
Yes, beautiful spot.
They
I remember.
closed that spot to renovate, and Michael came to me, and we had dinner one night, and we both agreed that there should be another Feinstein's in New York.
Absolutely.
Ironically, we are a city of 8 million plus people, 2 million visitors a year, and there are not that many venues for artists to perform, and not that many venues for our guests to visit.
Yes.
So and it's become more and more difficult. It's not like we don't want them, but it's cost prohibitive. It's very, very expensive now to lease places that are large spaces that make for good venues. So there are a few around that do well and present great music, and I just felt that Feinstein's had done such a great job for so many years.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was just, it was a shame to think that, after the Algonquin Room was gone and then Feinstein's is gone, that these places are not being replaced.
Exactly.
So we decided that we will open up, and we should be open in a year from now. Might be doing this interview at the new space.
Ooh, I can't wait. I can
I'm
get
looking
you
forward
and
to
Michael
it.
together. It'll be
Yes, I'm looking
fabulous.
forward to it. I could not imagine being a partner with anyone that is a greater ambassador of the music than Michael Feinstein. Greater human being. He's one of the most beautiful people I know.
Yes.
I love him, and what he brings to the table. I mean, I'm blessed again. I mean, I've been hit twice with Doris Parker and then
Now
Michael
Mike-
Feinstein.
So now you're going to have to add another 30 years, 30 to 50 years?
Well, I'm
for
going to
the
try to make that 20
Feinstein.
within that. I think I'm
So
like,
it matches with
yeah, I was going to
Birdland.
then Michael can take over from
Then
there.
Michael, yes.
We'll work that in.
Exactly.
Part of the deal. Michael, you've got
exactly.
like another, but Michael probably will go, he'll go for the singing for another 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael,
I did a concert with him at Carnegie a couple of years back, and he's just
It's all about
amazing.
music.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Like-
then, to be able to have a space, I mean, I know he has the space in San Francisco,
Yes.
and to be able to reopen that space that's been, in our lives
Yeah.
for so many years, and then when you heard about it closing, and now to know that it's, you're going to be you're going to be part of putting some life back into that and here in New York City.
Well, what's really interesting about it is it gives us another genre to deal with. That American songbook, pop, musical theater
Yes.
audience. It's an amazing audience. They're very loyal, and they love their artists, and I love being a part of that. As you know, and you've performed here, we do a Broadway series only one night a week,
Yes.
and it's well received. Jim Caruso books that.
Yeah, Jim's great.
We have a great time with it. We introduce our audiences to perhaps artists that they may never have seen before or had heard of, and
Yes.
come in, and we develop that. So for me, it's exciting because it's another aspect of the music.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's all from the same tree.
Yes.
Music is from the same tree.
Of
So,
course.
you know, we can't just say, I'm only going to do this or I'm only going to have this kind of music. That's old thinking. I like to think that we can be a little bit more eclectic and be creative. And with Michael's Room, we'll share some of our jazz artists with some of the artists that performed at Feinstein's
Yes.
American Theater. And, you know, we'll have Liza Minnelli come in, and we'll have
I heard about
Freddie
Liza
Cole
coming
come in,
in,
and
yes.
so forth. So this will work well for us and for me.
Of course.
It'll make me happy.
Especially since you have so much extra time on your hands.
A lot, yeah. I mean, you know, who dates anymore?
Yes. I know. No, I think, you know, it's really amazing. Too bad you can't just clone yourself and
Yeah, ironically, I have a twin brother.
I know.
But he
you
lives in
mentioned that
Florida.
earlier. I was like, a twin?
And he's
Teach him everything you
he's-
know, and then just put him at Feinstein's.
put one of them.
They were like, Johnny. He's like, yes.
And they walk in, they wouldn't know the difference. We
They
can
wouldn't
dress
know,
like when my mother dressed us when we were kids.
Aw, how
That's fun.
adorable.
Ironically, at one point, I had my brothers, we all worked one of the restaurants, so it was interchangeable. We'd all walk
Oh,
around.
that must have been really fun.
It was horrible when it came to dating.
Oh, I thought it would be convenient.
Could have. Who were you with last night?
Exactly. Oh, it's fine. Okay.
That
It's
was
fine.
my
It's
brother.
my brother. It's fine.
Yeah. No, but like I said, I hope that I can convince my son to come in and be a part of this industry.
Yes.
I talk to people about it, and it's the most amazing industry for me and
Yes.
for others that want to get into it. I encourage people to get into it.
Absolutely.
And a friend of mine at NYU does a jazz program down there. And I went down, and from the business end of it, it's important that if we're not going to be artists and we're not going to be performers, then we need people that are going to be business-minded to set up these venues
Yes.
and to run them properly and to give the artists their due and make the stage the star, and that's what's important. So hopefully we get more people involved, get more
Absolutely.
clubs in New York, get more people out to see music
To
and
see it,
to
to
enjoy.
support it, and
Yeah, there's
just
nothing
your
like
doors have to stay open for people who are supporting the music.
yeah, but there's nothing better than to see the support that people give live music.
Yes.
I mean, I've had restaurants, and the bigger thrill for me is when an artist finishes their show, to see an audience get up and give a standing ovation.
Yes.
I feel complete that I've been able to take it from the booking to get them to the stage and to see the reaction
Yes.
after they've performed. There's nothing more satisfying and gratifying than that to me.
Now, your journey, you know, becoming an owner of your own restaurant, started from working in a kitchen, doing the behind-the-scenes work, you know,
Right.
working your way up, so that you knew everybody else's job, you know,
I
before
like
you
to-
started
Yeah.
owning your own place, which is great. Now, the other so that's the business aspect of it.
Right.
Now, there's the artistic aspect of it when it comes to booking the artists and bringing these amazing artists here and filling your stage every night, and also keeping the doors open. So how different is that when it comes to booking versus when you have to kind of put the manager hat on and manage the restaurant with your employees and everything else?
Well, it's a very good point. And I think that a lot of times I meet people that want to, outside of New York, I travel and do some consulting. I always try to instill how important it is that they understand the restaurant end of the business as well. I did something that was very unusual 30 years ago. I took a jazz club and I dropped a restaurant in the middle of it. That's something that was really not very common. It was unheard of at the time.
Yes.
Normally, we had been educated to go to a jazz club, have a drink, have a cigar. People smoked. It was low lit. I
Yes.
tried to, well, I did change that. It took a lot of work. The first few years, the kitchen literally was quiet because people would come in, see a show, and go, oh, you serve food here. So we had to educate our people.
Yes.
So the restaurant end of it is very important. And then you have to deal with the booking end.
Yes.
Now, the booking end, you have to be able to separate the two. And a booking is very, very important because you have to book to your room. You have to get artists that fit the room. You'd like to book some of the bigger artists, and they may have bands that might be too big or too loud. They may not be intimate. It all depends on the type of room you've set up. The booking department that I have here, and I'm blessed, Ryan Patternight's been with me for 18 years booking the room, and he has 2 assistants that do a great job. We do map artists that do well for us, that people and our guests want to hear and see. We reach out through the web and on our comment cards, acts that are requested from people that maybe come in to visit, and
Yes.
we get a lot of that. But basically, when it comes down to jazz, we're only talking about 2% of the population of people that follow jazz
Yes.
in the world, 2%. There are a limited number of jazz artists that have the name out there, have the wherewithal to come out and perform at a high level at Birdland in New York City. And you'll find that our calendar is usually, I would say out of the 52 weeks, and we're only talking about 52 weeks a year, and there's probably 5,000 great artists.
Yes.
But you have to think of it as the business end. You have to bring in artists that people are going to come in, pay a music charge for, and enjoy, and come back, and do it all at a price range that works.
Yes.
So of these artists, 26 artists are usually people that you'll repeat because they do well. John Pizzarelli, Freddie Cole, Dave Holland, Amal Jamal. These artists you can shuffle in every year.
You can count on bringing them
And
in.
then you
They're in
find
their group.
the other weeks with good, new, young, emerging artists. And this is what's important, what our booking department has to do. We have to do our homework. We have to get these CDs in. We have to get their press kits. We have to talk to their managers, talk to their agents, see, can they come in and do 10 shows at Birdland and help pay the cost of running a business
Yes.
on a number of seats and at a price that I feel I try to keep it as low as possible to make it affordable for people. So the booking is so important. It takes up a lot of our time. I come in every day. I'm here by 1 o'clock every day, and I work from 1 to 6 doing the booking end of it, and then I'll have dinner, and by 8 o'clock I'm ready for a show. But 5 days a week, 6 days a week, it's all about booking.
Yeah.
And it's about bringing in the artists that work well in the room.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, very important.
And as of now, how far in advance are you booked?
We book up a year.
Okay.
Yeah, we're booked up a year. As I mentioned earlier, there are fewer and fewer of those hard ticket sale artists out there. So, and they get booked up quite quickly. They're traveling a lot, so
you're
you
trying
have
to grab them.
yeah, you have to
when you
plot.
can.
We're doing July of 15. And there are some dates that are booked
We're in
into
July now.
almost, New Year's Eve and your
Yes.
big holiday weeks and those shows, those might be booked up 2 years up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's
That's
great.
for you.
And you know what? We've had to learn over the years that you have to leave a couple of weeks open in 15 because you never know. Chick Corea might call and say, I've got a new album out, but I need to play in June.
Exactly.
And you call them up and you go, I'm all booked.
Yeah.
But so
You can't have
you
that.
need to plan that ahead as well. And it's like I said, it's a full-time job. And I have 3 people in the office doing it. And I walk in and papers are flying across
He's
desks.
still sweating.
We can get this. We can get this one, but we don't have this date. Can you move this date? Can you move that date?
Yes.
And booking, it's all about the booking.
Yes.
It truly is. I like to remind my staff this, is that we are a jazz club first. We're a music venue that serves food and a full-service bar.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to focus on that. We have to focus on the music, making sure that the musicians are booked, that the audience wants to hear them.
Yes.
And that's...
And the audience, they'll come in at, for a 7 o'clock show, they'll be showing up at 5 o'clock
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
have a full dinner and drinks so that they're ready. They're ready for a
Absolutely.
show.
So the booking is really,
Yes.
when you're dealing in music, the booking is, it's 80% of the game.
Of course.
And, you have to have the time slots, like you just said. I have a jazz party every Sunday at 6 o'clock that Jane Monheit hosts.
Yes.
And at 6 o'clock, we're filled with dinner. There are other venues that perhaps maybe are not busy early. We're fortunate. We have a great location. You can't beat being in Times Square.
Right in the center of Times Square. It's great.
That helps.
That helps. You have everybody. People that might not even know that, there is a concert going on. They just walk by and, you have your windows all open. You can look right into the...
Except at showtime, we close the curtain.
You close the curtains, okay.
I have to say that we are blessed with that, being in New York and Times Square. I would say 70% of our audience comes from outside of the country,
Yes.
outside of America. And
Wow.
the other 30% are people within the continental U.S. And half the people that walk up know the artist that's playing, and the other half are coming in because of Birdland.
Yes.
So I've been blessed with an amazing name and tradition.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it makes my job a little easier. Not that it's easy, but at least there's a help there. I could have called it Johnny's and everybody would want to know, who's Johnny? What do I care about Johnny? Birdland, Charlie Parker, we're there.
Yeah, exactly. Because so many legends have passed through.
Oh God! And I've had 30 years of the most amazing life of meeting some of the greatest artists, and not only hearing their music but becoming good friends with them. And that's been, I think, the biggest thrill I've had is the friendships that I've had over the years of the great jazz artists. And now with the Broadway, I've got to meet you, a lovely Broadway diva. I love you, and you performed here. So now
Couple
we're
of times. I love
branching
this
out,
stage.
and the Broadway community has been so wonderful for us.
Yes.
I love it, and
Even like
I'm
hugging you guys.
and I like that's my. I'll give up any free time that I may have had.
Yes.
I'll give it up for our new project with Michael, because I just love the artist, and I love the fact that they've given their life to make us happy and give us their talent, and to me, it's a blessing.
Now, is it a secret where the location is going to be?
It's going to be
Or can
on 44th Street.
Feinstein's going to be at 44th Street?
Yeah, but I can't tell you exactly
Are
where.
you kidding me? I love it. So you're just
Yeah,
going to
well,
walk from one place to the other,
that- of course. I don't have a lot of time.
You don't have a lot of time. I love it. That's great.
Yeah. so
Oh,
it'd be
wow.
fun.
It's great.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's convenient.
that would be
And
very
that's a
convenient.
perfect spot for it, too, especially with
I,
being a part of the Broadway community.
It is. It is. I think that those were some of the reasons why we decided to go ahead with the project. There are other areas of the city, but what Michael brings and the kind of music that we want to bring to the club, I think that we needed to be in this area.
Absolutely.
And,
That's
you know,
smart.
it's when Michael had his club on the Upper East Side, it was easy to get to. So we need to think about that. There are larger spaces, and you can branch out. You can go to Brooklyn. There's great places that are available in Brooklyn and
Yes.
other areas of New York, or downtown, in the villages. but I just think that this would work
Absolutely.
easier for me. And there's less stress for me.
Yeah.
And one thing I don't need
I
is
can walk to it from the
more
theater.
stress. Yeah, great. People can go to the theater and then come visit us.
I can go to Motown and then come visit you guys.
What's
2 blocks over.
Boy, we're living the dream, aren't we?
Exactly. I love
I
it.
love that. I love that.
So now you have Birdland, there's Fine Signs, is there anything else? And we already know that you're going to be renewing your lease for another 20 years.
Right.
All right. Is there anything else that you feel that you need to accomplish in your life, or do you feel that you've kind of gotten to that point where you're complete?
No, I don't think so. I wrestle with that all the time. We have our own record company, and we have a management company that work Birdland Records and Birdland Management.
Yes.
I think as I get a stronger and stronger staff, I have an amazing management staff. I love my employees. I really do. We're only as good as our employees, and I've found that over the years, I have a general manager who's been with me 23 years, chefs that have been with me 15 to 20 years, bartenders 18 years. We've developed a good family here.
Yes.
It's given me, within my work framework, when I come in to put my energies in other avenues, what I like is developing new artists. To me, I think that as they take over more of my responsibilities, that I can find and help develop new singers, new musicians.
Yes.
For me, this is what we need. Again, the jazz community is small, but it's very, very closely knit. And we're losing a lot of our great artists. As we get older, they get older and they pass on. And we need young people to step up.
Exactly.
And I feel that my purpose in life is to be here to help create music, to have a place for people to perform and to move on. And so what I've found the last couple of years, I would say the last 8 to 10 years, is developing emerging artists. We have a program that we call Jazz Party on Sundays. We have a Thursday early slot at 6 o'clock for emerging artists, for CD releases. I wish I had more time to give
spread out.
people, because there are so many.
Oh, there are.
If I tell you my Thursday 6 o'clock slots are almost booked up for the year. And I have so many young, great artists that would love a night to come in and to perform in front of an audience on the Birdland stage and have that evening for themselves.
Yes.
So for me right now, my intentions are to move forward, taking young artists, developing them, give them a place to perform, perhaps maybe even helping with a CD, producing, putting a band together with them, and then moving them up the ladder.
Okay.
I love that. Like I said, we have a management company that we work with artists. We try to work with them in ways of booking and helping them move on in their careers.
And how long have you been doing this? Like, how long have you been kind
Well,
of catering, trying to develop the emerging artists?
I would say that I've had at least 10 years in it now.
10 years.
And we get young kids that get started out and give them the confidence and move.
Yes.
Ironically, there's a girl that's performing in a club in the neighborhood, a smaller club in Midtown, in Chelsea. And she started out singing in here, coming in a cast party, which is a very important part of our programming as well.
Yes.
And Jim Caruso, been with us for 11 years, and I
Yes.
love him dearly.
Jim is great.
We give
love
people,
Jim.
we give these kids an opportunity to come on stage and sing with Billy Stritch at the piano, give them that feel, let them hear the audience, and that gives them hopefully a little
Yes.
bit more incentive to keep it going. And that's what
Exactly.
we need to do.
Because you have these you have schooling. I mean, I'm from New York, so I did all my schooling here in New York City, but that's not enough. You you have to
Gotta
be
have that
you have-
stranger in the
exactly.
audience
You have to be
to get that
performing,
reaction.
doing venues. You have to feel like a song that you practiced in the studio for who knows how long with your vocal teacher and your
That's right.
pianist changes its entirety when you're performing it in front of an audience, and then you're realizing, oh, okay, so that's the kind of reaction I'm
And
getting
you
from
want
this
it-
song.
and you want them to catch that,
Exactly.
because that will bring them on. And getting back to this young lady, her name is Gabriella Stravelli. She came in and sang, and I thought that she had a lot of talent, great energy, and I put her together with Marilyn May, and she went with Marilyn and did some studying with Marilyn, and
Nice.
she put on a show, and Stephen Holden went and reviewed it and had an amazing review. And I felt like it was like my child.
Wow.
Seeing her come
A dream
from our
come true.
stage, jazz party, cast party, Marilyn May, to her performance, and getting a great
And a
review in
glowing
the
review
Times.
in the Times.
So for me, those are things that
Yes.
are really, I think, satisfying, and really, they are very close to me, because that's going to bring me to the next level of getting them out there, and
Exactly.
perhaps maybe helping them get an agent and seeing them travel. And then when I book them and they come in and do 10 shows, then I'm thrilled.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
I've had that happen.
'Cause
where
and you
artists
saw the
come
development
in, and,
from the very beginning.
I remember people, listen, Diana Krall started out doing 1 day a week, and then before you know it, she grew, and I love that. I love to see them grow. I want them all to be successful, and I
Yes.
want the music to continue.
Yes, absolutely. Well, now with this interview, who knows? You might have a long line outside of Birdland of all those young, hungry artists
We
wanting
need
you to represent
I
them.
wa-
Birdland, hello! I saw the interview. Here's my demo.
Well, the good thing about the new place is we're going to have bigger offices.
Yes.
We're going to add a few in the office, and maybe we can help them along. But
Exactly.
yeah, that's my dream, and my dream is to like stay in the industry for as long as I possibly can, be as productive, and hopefully people enjoy what we do. We work hard at what we do. It's like I said, it's not easy, but it's a labor of love.
Absolutely. Well, it's an amazing labor of love here at Birdland. And thank you so much, Gianni, for opening up your second home to us. And we're looking forward to seeing the third home soon, next year, on 44th Street. We'll find out which avenues that's between soon. And really, I've been on this stage here and performed with some amazing musicians, and your audience is always so receptive, and it's amazing. It's a thrill to be on this stage and to be able to sit here and talk to you about how you got started and where Birdland is moving from now.
Well,
So-
thank you.
Thank you.
It was great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let's say goodbye, Spotlight readers and watchers. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Nothing you can say to tear me away from my God. Nothing you could do, 'cause I'm stuck like glue to my God.